Some of the richest people you will ever meet do not look rich. They stopped buying the items that other people use to look wealthy. This sounds simple. But it can change how you see money forever. A few years ago, a young insurance agent named Calvin got an invite to visit a client. The client was Raymond Ellis. Calvin knew Raymond had money. He did not mean a comfortable middle-class life. He meant serious wealth. Raymond owned many commercial buildings. He had sold a piece of a company years ago. He had investments that most people only dream about. When Calvin got the invite, he expected the house to match the bank account. He pictured a long driveway. He imagined a big gate and luxury cars. He saw a front door bigger than most apartment walls. He expected a private chef. He pictured marble floors and a living room so perfect that guests were not allowed to sit on the furniture. But when Calvin drove into the neighborhood, he thought the GPS was wrong. The houses were nice, but they were normal. There were old trees and mailboxes at the curb. Kids rode bikes. People had basketball hoops in their driveways. Nothing about the area yelled millionaire that he pulled up to Raymond's house. It was a clean, one-story brick home. It had a small porch and trimmed bushes. The mailbox was plain black. 2 cars sat in the driveway. One was an older SUV. The other was a sedan that looked 10 years old. There were no luxury logos. There was no showpiece car. There was no dramatic entrance. Raymond opened the door. He wore a plain polo shirt and faded jeans. He had on house slippers. His watch looked like it came from a cheap department store. He smiled. He shook Calvin's hand and invited him in like an old friend. Inside, Calvin was even more surprised. The living room was comfortable but dated. The couch was clean, but it was old. The TV was not huge. The dining table had scratches on it from years of use. The kitchen was nice, but Raymond did not remodel it just to impress guests. Dinner was simple. They had baked chicken, rice, green beans, and iced tea. There was no chef. There was no expensive wine. There were no fancy plates. It was not a performance. Calvin kept looking around. He tried to understand how someone with that much money lived so normally. Raymond noticed him staring at the old table. He laughed. He told Calvin the table had been with them longer than most people keep a car. Calvin admitted he expected something different. Raymond nodded. He said most people do. Then Raymond said something Calvin never forgot. He said most people think money gives you permission to buy more. Raymond thought money gives you permission to stop buying things you do not need. That line stuck with him because Raymond was not cheap. He traveled with his wife. He helped his grandkids with school. He paid for great health care. He gave money when it mattered. He fixed things the right way. He bought quality when it made sense. But he refused to waste money on things that only created an image. He hated bills and stress. He did not want pressure. Many people miss this part. Real wealth is not always about what someone can buy. Sometimes it shows in what someone refuses to buy. Wealthy people ask a different question. Most people ask one thing before they buy. Can I afford it? That sounds responsible. But it is not enough. A person can afford something and still make a bad choice. You can afford a monthly payment and still make your life harder. You can afford a brand name and still overpay. You can afford a bigger house and still buy more stress than comfort. You can afford a new car and give away money that could protect your future. Wealthy-minded people ask a different question. Is this actually worth what it will cost me? That question goes deeper. It does not just look at the price tag. It looks at the real cost. Will this create another bill? Will it need repairs? Will it lose value fast? Will this make my life better or just make me look better? Am I buying this because I need it or because I feel pressure? That is how wealthy people protect their money. They are not smarter in every area. They are not perfect. But they learn to slow down before spending. They know money leaks through habits. If you do not pay attention, normal spending keeps you stuck. There are things wealthy people often refuse to buy. The lesson is bigger than the items. First, they avoid extended warranties and protection plans. You know this moment. You buy a TV, a laptop, or a washer. Right before you pay, the cashier asks if you want a protection plan. It sounds safe. But wealthy people pause. An extended warranty is extra coverage you pay for if something breaks. Stores push these because the stores make money. Not every warranty is bad. But you should slow down. If these plans were a great deal for customers, companies would not have to sell them so hard. They price them so the company wins. Think about a $900 washing machine with a $180 plan. You worry about it breaking. That fear is why the offer exists. If you buy these plans for every gadget and piece of furniture, you spend thousands over the years. Many of those items never break. Wealthy people often self-insure. They keep money set aside for repairs. They do not pay a store for extra protection. If something breaks, they pay for it. If nothing breaks, they keep the money. This is not being careless. It is about not paying for fear. A small repair fund gives you more control. Do not let fear make your purchases more expensive. Second, they avoid brand names when the cheaper version works the same. Walk through a grocery store. You will see this everywhere. One bottle has a famous name. Another has the store name. They are the same size. They have similar ingredients. They do the same job. But the famous one costs more. Many people grab the brand name out of habit. Marketing makes you trust a product. People assume the familiar one is better. But wealthy people are loyal to value, not labels. Value means what you get for what you pay. Sometimes the brand name is better. It might last longer or taste better. If that difference matters, they buy it. But often the difference is not worth the price. Basic medicines are a good example. Many store brands have the same active ingredients as the expensive ones. Many people pay a tax on brand names without knowing it. You can find generic medications that have the exact same active ingredient and dose as the famous ones. If the chemical doing the work is the same, the expensive logo on the box adds no value. This logic works for more than just medicine. It applies to the cereal in your pantry, the soap you use to clean the floor, and the paper towels in the kitchen. Even basic spices like cinnamon or salt are often the same regardless of the brand. Wealthy-minded people do not just buy the cheapest item on the shelf. They know that a cheap tool that breaks in a week costs more than a quality tool that lasts a year. Instead, they test and compare. They ask if they can actually tell the difference in quality. If the store brand tastes or works the same as the name brand, they keep the extra cash. Saving $2 on a jar of peanut butter may seem small. But doing this for a lifetime changes how you see money. It stops you from paying for a name just because it feels familiar. Marketing is designed to make you feel behind. Companies release a new phone or a new car model and suddenly your current one feels old. The message is that what you own is no longer enough. This happens with laptops, watches, and kitchen appliances. Wealthy-minded people do not fall for this cycle. They know that being the first person to buy a new product is expensive. Early buyers often pay the most and deal with the most bugs. They handle the recalls and the defects that get fixed in the second version. Think about your phone. If it still makes calls, sends texts, and runs your apps, it does its job. A newer model might have a screen that is slightly brighter or a camera that is a bit better. If you take on a new monthly payment just to feel current, your life did not really improve. For a professional photographer or a business owner, an upgrade makes sense because it helps them earn. For everyone else, it is often an emotional purchase. Patient people wait for the excitement to fade. They read reviews and wait for the price to drop. They upgrade when the deal makes sense, not when a company tells them they are outdated. The word premium is a powerful tool for sellers. It sounds smarter and makes people feel successful. However, a premium feature is useless if you do not use it. This happens with premium gas in a car that only needs regular. It happens when you pay for the fastest internet speed but only use it to check email and stream a few shows. Some people pay for the most expensive gym membership but do the same workout they could do at a cheaper spot. They pay for an upgraded hotel room and then spend the whole trip sightseeing. Wealthy-minded people do not pay for the feeling of being upgraded. They look for a fit. Fit means the product matches the actual need. If the owner's manual says regular gas is fine, premium gas gives no extra performance. You are just buying a feeling. The same thing happens with app subscriptions. You might start with a basic plan, then move to a premium plan for more features. Months later, you realize you never use those extras. These monthly costs are dangerous because they become invisible over time. When the basic version does the job, the basic version is enough. Small habits can drain a bank account. Buying one bottle of water while traveling is fine. Buying cases of bottled water every week is a different story. This cost hides in plain sight. A family adds a few cases to the cart and barely notices the price. But when you multiply $15 a week over a year, it becomes hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A simple water filter often solves the same problem for a fraction of the cost. This is not about judging people. Some areas have bad tap water or specific health needs. The point is to look at the habit. Wealthy-minded people ask if there is a better way to get the same result. They apply this thinking to water, snacks, and every other repeat purchase. Small costs add up. You buy paper plates for a party. You pay a small delivery fee for lunch. You grab a bottle of water at a gas station. These do not feel like big losses. But money leaves you one small habit at a time. High-fee money products are a major risk. A fee is just a price for a service. Some are fair. Others take too much. People who build wealth watch these fees. They see them as leaks in a bucket. You pour money in, but it leaks out through small holes. These fees hide in bank accounts and credit cards. They hide in retirement plans and insurance policies. A monthly bank fee seems tiny. An investment fee might be a small percentage. A fancy credit card has a yearly fee. Most people just pay it. Wealthy people ask what they get for that cost. If the value is not there, they leave. If one bank charges a monthly fee and another does not, they switch. If a fund charges high costs but does not grow, they sell it. Money lost to fees cannot grow. It cannot protect your future. Then there are vacation deals and timeshares. These often start with a free dinner or a gift card. You sit in a nice room. A salesman tells you about easy vacations and happy memories. Then the pressure starts. They say the deal ends today. They say the price will go up. This is how people sign contracts. They do not understand that a timeshare asks for a big payment up front. Then you pay yearly fees forever. These deals are hard to sell. They are hard to cancel. A dream vacation becomes a permanent bill. Wealthy people avoid high-pressure sales. A good deal lasts if you sleep on it. They know the difference between an asset and a bill. An asset makes money. A bill just takes it. Some people use luck as a financial plan. They buy lottery tickets every week. Buying one for fun is fine. The problem is when luck is the only way out. People say someone has to win. That is true, but it is not likely. Wealthy people do not bet their lives on unlikely odds. They pick choices they can control. Saving money is boring, but it works. Paying off debt reduces stress. Investing in a steady way lets money grow. Improving a skill raises a paycheck. These do not feel like a jackpot. But they are reliable. Spending $15 a week on tickets adds up to hundreds a year. Over a decade, that is thousands of dollars gone. Hope needs a real plan. Many people pay full price because they feel shy. Asking for a discount feels awkward. They do not want to seem difficult. Wealthy people see this as business. Asking is not begging. They ask if a price can be lowered or matched. They ask if there are discounts for new customers. They ask if it is the best price possible. This saves money on cars, furniture, and medical bills. It works on internet plans and insurance renewals. Many companies have discounts they do not mention. If you never ask, you pay the agreeable price. This is the price for people who do not question things. The worst answer is no. The best answer saves thousands of dollars. Finally, there is the urge to buy new furniture for every room. This happens a lot when people move. They want the house to look finished fast. They buy full sets for the living room and bedroom. They finance it all. Now the home has another monthly payment. Wealthy people move slower. They buy one good piece at a time. They use what they have. They shop estate sales for quality items. Furniture loses value fast. A new couch costs thousands but is worth half that the moment it hits the floor. Buying everything new is a fast way to lose money. New furniture is fine sometimes. But rushing to fill a room is a mistake. The trap of payment plans starts at the checkout screen. You see a new phone or a designer bag. The price looks high, but then a button appears. It says pay in 4 installments or spread it over a year. Suddenly, $1,000 purchase looks like a small monthly fee. This makes it easy to buy things before you have the cash. People fill their carts with clothes, electronics, furniture, and jewelry. They book vacations and buy holiday gifts on credit. These plans turn a quick want into a long-term debt. When you stack 10 small payments together, they become one big weight. Your paycheck disappears the moment it hits your bank account. You are working to pay for things you bought months ago. People with a wealthy mindset avoid this. They know that consumer goods lose value fast. A new TV gets old. A dress goes out of style. A gadget becomes slow. If you finance these items, you might still be paying for them after the joy is gone. You are paying for a memory or an outdated piece of plastic. Interest makes the situation worse. Interest is the fee you pay for the privilege of borrowing. If a couch costs $1,000 but you pay $1,200 over time, that extra $200 bought nothing. It did not make the couch softer. It only bought you time. Borrowing is sometimes a must for emergencies. But using it for a lifestyle keeps you stuck. Wealthy people do not pay extra just because they are impatient. They save their money first. When you pay cash, the deal is done. When you finance, the purchase follows you home every month. Some gifts are even more dangerous because they create bills for other people. A friend might give a child a puppy. It looks like a kind act. But now the parents pay for food, vet visits, and grooming. Someone else might give a tablet that requires a monthly subscription to work. Another person gives a huge piece of art that requires a paid storage unit. A person might pay for a hotel for a trip, but the guest still has to pay for flights and food. The gift was free at first, but it created a permanent bill. Wealthy people look past the price tag. They ask what it costs to own the item. The real cost is not just the checkout price. It includes repairs, insurance, and cleaning. A boat needs fuel and a dock. A big house means higher taxes and more electricity. A luxury car needs special oil and expensive tires. Owning things takes money and time. Asking what ownership requires prevents regret. Sometimes the purchase is the cheap part. The ownership is where the money goes. This approach is not about being cheap. It is about being clear. Cheap people hate spending money even when it helps them. A cheap person might ignore a leaking pipe to save $1. A clear person pays for the repair but refuses to buy the fancy gold faucet they do not need. Cheap people live in fear of spending. Clear people spend with a plan. They spend on what matters and cut out the waste. They refuse fake status and pointless upgrades. They do not want payments that steal their freedom. Money becomes a tool for intention rather than a source of stress. True wealth starts when you stop letting ads, trends, and moods control your wallet. Most people move through life on autopilot. They buy things because a social media feed told them to or because they feel a sudden surge of stress at work. They let companies decide where their hard-earned cash goes. People with a wealth mindset do not hate spending. They just hate wasting. They put their money into things that provide real value. This means spending on health, family, and education. They buy tools that actually work and food that fuels them. They pay for travel that creates a memory or help that gives them back an hour of their day. Look at two people who earn the exact same salary. One ends up broke while the other builds a fortune. The difference is intention. The first person buys to feel a quick spark of joy today. The second person buys with their future self in mind. One asks if the bank account has enough for the price tag. The other asks if the item is actually worth the trade. This small shift in thinking changes everything over 10 years. To stop the leak in your finances, use 5 simple filters before you swipe your card. First, ask if you want the item because you need it or because you want to look a certain way. Buying for image is a race you can never win. Second, ask if this purchase creates a new bill. A cheap printer is a trap if the ink costs a fortune every month. Third, check if a cheaper version does the same job. You do not need a brand name to get the result. Fourth, check your mood. Are you buying out of fear, pressure, or a need for a quick fix? Fear sells overpriced warranties. Pressure sells bad contracts. Impatience sells high-interest payment plans. Finally, ask if you will still be glad you bought it in 3 months. This separates a real need from a passing whim. You do not need a huge salary to start this. Stability comes from wasting less. This does not mean your life becomes boring. It means your money actually helps you. Consider the story of Calvin and Raymond. Calvin visited Raymond at his home one evening. The house was a simple brick building. The couch was old. The meal was basic. The cars in the driveway were just ordinary rides. Nothing about the place tried to impress a visitor. But Calvin noticed something. Raymond had peace. He was not a slave to monthly payments for things he did not care about. Raymond had money, but more importantly, he had control. He got that control by saying no to small things for a long time. He could have upgraded his car or bought a bigger house to show off. Instead, he chose freedom. Wealth is not just about what you earn. It is about what you keep. You protect your savings by refusing things that do not matter. Next time you buy something, do not just check your balance. Ask if that item deserves a piece of your future. Every dollar you spend is a choice. It can build your freedom or it can vanish into something that only looked good for a second. Those small choices add up to the life you will live later.